Hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of Kerbal Space Program. This is our mini-series to Tylo and Vol. So if you missed the last couple episodes, we built a lander craft and this is it. This is the Vol and Tylo lander. It's mainly the Tylo lander. It has a mainsail engine and a bunch of outer tanks that all feed into the main tank. And each one of these tanks is able to be decoupled. And the total delta V is right now is an astounding 6,200 meters per second, which should be just enough to get this thing down to the surface and back up again from Tylo. It does need to be refueled a little bit, and once it does, it'll probably have a little more delta V, but we will certainly do that. And it's loaded up with tons of science, and it's basically ready to go. Now, it is on an intercept course right now with the main fuel lug, and basically it's going to rendezvous with this ship out here, which is going to basically take it out to the Jool system. And as you can see, we have a nice 2.2 kilometer rendezvous coming up in a little bit, so we have to just basically make an entire orbit. It's back there somewhere, slowly catching up to us. So let's go ahead and just warp around this big pretty blue planet. Such a nice sight. I don't know if you guys were following the Orion launch, but it was pretty interesting stuff. I think it was a big success. They tested it, brought it out to, I think, some kind of altitude. It's like 6,000 miles away from the planet, which is, once it's manned, that'll be like the farthest any manned crew has been since the moon landings, which is pretty exciting. It's finally good to get away from, you know, low Earth orbit. That just kind of reminded me being here in low Kerbin orbit. Ah, and there's our craft coming up on us right now. That's kind of what I was looking for. So we're just going to let this thing get basically as close as it can get, which is going to be somewhere around there, and then we'll start braking. Basically, we'll just start slowing down. But as for right now, we're kind of getting like a free encounter. We're just letting gravity do all the work for us. Basically just sitting here while we magically float towards each other, which is pretty nice, all things considered. Alright, it's coming up on us now, so I'm going to start thinking about slowing this thing down. In fact, yeah, let's get this thing ready. I think I'm going to do the rendezvous with this craft, because that craft has all sorts of things attached to it. It's quite cumbersome at the moment, but this one should be a little bit better to rendezvous in, and it's not really much better, but it's a little better. So I'm just gonna push this retro movement reticle onto the pink anti-target reticle, and what that's gonna do is basically now we're moving towards each other at 10 meters per second, which is nice. So you basically push this a little further, and now we're going to meet at 1.7 kilometers. Not too bad. So we're just going to keep pointing. Basically going to just keep making sure that we are pointed straight at the target. I might just burst a little bit harder towards it, just so that we can meet up a little bit closer. And this thing is pretty heavy. It is tough to control it, but we're making do. So here we are. Rendezvous is 0.765. We'll do 0.5 for now, as we move towards each other at 18 meters per second. I might just activate the RCS just to help us maneuver a little better as we get closer and closer to our fuel lug. And there we go. We'll just kind of keep it like this, whizzing towards each other in low Kerbin orbit. And that's quite a sight, I gotta say. It's very nice. So there it comes. We can actually see it approaching us now. It's that tiny little thing right there. Now it is starting to drift away from us, so again, same maneuver. We're just going to push this anti-movement reticle right onto that pink anti-target reticle. Which essentially it's a technical way of saying now we're moving straight at the target. To kind of stop drifting, and now we're just heading towards it at basically 7 meters per second. We're going to meet up around 200 meters away from each other. That ain't too bad. You can see it right there. Getting closer and closer. Such an awesome view. Really puts things in perspective. We're just two little specks floating around this big globe. Oh, I should probably get ready to slow down. There we go. Heading towards it at 3 meters per second now. We're going to meet up around 100 meters. Not bad. Just continue to fling ourselves at each other. So before we crash into each other, I might put this thing into a north-south heading, just so that it's easier to rendezvous with it. Let's see how we doing on time here. The sun is going to start setting very soon. Let's see, I'm just going to start basically killing our velocity. Going to let it get a little bit closer. There's my cat meowing again in the background. She's been making an appearance in these videos recently. That's what she does. She just, anytime I record, she just has to be the center of attention. She doesn't like me talking to you guys. She wants me to talk to her. Oh no, kitty. Unfortunately, she likes to step on the keyboard, and that would be bad if I hit the stage button right now. That would not be very good if she accidentally jettisoned my fuel tanks. I would be a little upset at her if that actually happened. Okay, we've basically nullified our velocity. So, yes, I'm just going to go over to this craft here. And let's put this thing basically facing north-south. Let's see. Very, very cumbersome. That's for sure. I mean, look at this thing. Just does not want to turn. There we go. Now it's starting to swing. Swing around. Man, by the time I get this thing facing north-south, the video is going to be over. I'm just going to do a little aided time warp here. That'll help us out. There we go. So putting us north-south will make it just a little easier to hit. Alright, there we go. Now let's tab back to this thing. We should also put this thing in a basically north-south heading. Wow, that thing is tall. It is a tall ship that I made there. Alright. Chase cam view. So we gotta slide ourselves basically to the right, subjectively, the subjective right. Looks like I didn't balance this thing very well because see how it's kind of like rotating as well? Yeah, that's my fault because these thruster blocks aren't exactly positioned in the best way. We'll go also H because we want to get ahead of it. H and L basically. Like to head towards it. There we go. Well, this is going to take a bit, so let's just do a little cut right here until we get a little bit closer. Okay, that's a little bit better. We're now basically straight in front of it. And we are almost lined up here. I'm gonna just press the K key to stop us from drifting downwards, basically. As you can see, it's just about in line. We could watch down here too. The little pink thing is floating right to where we are. We'll just kind of stop it from happening. In fact, yeah, right about there. So we'll just hit the N key now, and as you can see, we are basically moving. Since we are facing the opposite direction, we are moving right basically at it now, and I'm just going to rotate the ship around, because we do want to dock this way. We don't want to dock it facing the other way. We want to be facing the target, not pushing away from it. Alright, we are basically lined up now. Okay. Just gonna get it tilted the proper direction here. Alright, SAS. Now I'm gonna go to this craft, hit the lights. Ooh, that looks that looks interesting. I put on blue lights. I don't know why I just decided to make a blue. It looks quite interesting. Let's make a burn towards the target. And that should basically close us up. It takes a lot of basically RCS because this thing is heavy. Both these crafts are very, very heavy, so it takes a little more thrust to get them basically to do what you want to do. There we go, we're basically coming straight at each other now. Not too bad. It's really blue now. Take a little picture of that. According to the nav ball, we are hitting straight at it, and that's pretty good. At a good 0.5 meters per second. I might just slow it down just a touch. Although, we are basically on course here. Might just kick it a little bit to the right. And up. We've bumped into each other. That's not the desired effect that I wanted. We've bumped the spacecraft, everybody. We have fail docked. Let's get it a little bit closer. We gotta push towards it again. Ooh, go down. Go down. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. That is not it. We're having some technical difficulties here. Man, these things are so heavy. Down a little bit. Rotate a little bit. Up a little bit. Come on, get in there, you bastard. There she goes. Alright. We had a bit of a trouble there, but that's us. We've made the rendezvous. The Rendezvous, and yeah, we're basically ready to go. Wow. Cool. How much fuel we got left in this thing? Nothing. Basically just vapors. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, how long can we burn this engine for? Stage 4. That's not really telling us. But I'm just gonna dump this fuel basically back into this craft here. And then, you know, balance it evenly and stuff. This one too. Out and out. Okay. So this engine's pretty much dead. Let's just move the staging around. This should go up here. In fact, we can disable this engine. Shut down engine. Okay. And let's decouple. There it goes. Just gonna RCS away from it. Ooh, well, you know what we have to do actually? Now we have to control from here. There, that's the way forward now. And now we can H successfully away. Forgot to control from here because this thing is pointed backwards now technically, so okay. I'm also, let's see, gonna hit the 0 key. Ooh, that was almost horrible. Just to get rid of those things, I'm just gonna manually. Hopefully nothing was damaged over here. I think these are okay. Let's see. We need to put these in this stage over here. Let's push space. Oh, it didn't like that. Alright, I'm just gonna manually turn them on then. There we go. And then this engine could just, I don't know, move up here. Alright. Stage 4 has a total of 3,900 meters per second. We can basically ignite these engines for an hour. That's pretty cool. As long as, you know, if that thing's correct. Now let's see. We got to balance this fuel around, don't we? We got to throw some fuel around. I'll do that off camera. That's probably boring as hell. I'll be right back. Alright, that's basically us. We are in orbit. We're coming up on some debris, or rather, the debris is falling away. So all we gotta do now is basically plan our. Ooh, that was weird. We gotta plan our Jool encounter now. So let's go back to the Space Center, and we'll get to our illustrious planning craft, the Time Waster, which is the best way that I've found to warp ahead. Let's see, where are ya? Time Waster. So we want about 96.58 phase. So we're gonna just point to Jool. And we're almost there actually. That worked out pretty nicely. We're almost at the exact right phase. We didn't even do anything. So 96.58. We'll get her warped in there. We're almost there actually. 96.58 is what we want. Which is right there. Good. That's it. We made our phase. So all we got to do now is basically plan our trip out to Jool. Let's go back to Tylo command module. Switch to. There we are. Still pointed in its north-south facing direction. And we are basically all set to go. All we had to do is make our ejection burn. So let's go ahead and plan that out. I'm going to push on the dark side away from Kerbin here. For quite a while. Jool is quite far away. It's a little bit too far. We want to just set that as the target. Come on, give me the node. Alright, so we have a pretty good lineup right there actually. Man, I love when that works out, don't you? When it works out just perfectly. I might just finagle with this a little bit. Just to save on fuel a little bit. Here we go. $819. 200, and we can always fix that a little more. So in fact, yeah, we're definitely gonna have to, because our whatchamacallit, ascending node's a little off. So we can go out here. Let's go ahead and place that. We can pull down on that a little bit. And that'll basically get our encounter even better. Now, someone said if you just declick both maneuver nodes, it'll show you what the total delta V is. Or rather, it'll tell you, it'll add them up. So 254 for this one, and then this one is going to be 1800, which is hard to see right here, but it's in there somewhere. But that, I forget who told me that. Someone commented. Thank you very much. You know who you are. Basically, you can just hover over the maneuver node. That would have come in handy for my last ELU mission, where I wasn't sure how much the two combined maneuver nodes were going to be, because I was only looking down here. But now that I see it's going to cost about 2,000 meters per second to fling ourselves out there, we'll have plenty left in all these stages here. I think we're going to be just fine with this particular mission. I'm not too worried. Although it says the total delta V we have is 8,200. It's probably more than that. I'm going to hope it's more than that. If it's not, we'll just have to send a refueler out there. But that's us. That's the maneuver we're going to make. In the next episode of Kerbal Space Program, we're going to make that burn basically out there towards Jool. And then we can start thinking about which moon we want to go to first, Val or Tylo. So join us then, and we will do all that stuff. So thanks for watching, everybody.